Army taking fire.
Chest fire.
Near the Algiers Motel.
Hey, y'all, there's a bunch of police outside right now.
Welcome to Kermode Uncut. Detroit, the new film by Katherine Bigelow, is in cinemas at the moment. It seems to have divided critics. I'm a really big fan. It's a film about the Detroit riots of 1967 and an appalling incident which has become known as the Algiers Motel incident. And it's Katherine Bigelow and Mark Bowl working together to kind of take real events, fictionalize them, but tell a true story in a way which is dramatically engaging. There's been a lot of attention paid to John Boyega, who is brilliant in the film, who's so great in Star Wars. Of course, he was really discovered in Attack the Block. One of the standouts for me is Will Poulter. Will Poulter, who plays this racist cop Krause, who's like a kind of composite character. And I am a huge fan of Will Poulter. Every time I see Will Poulter, I think he's almost the best thing in every film he's in. So, perfect opportunity to give you my top 5 Will Poulter movies.
I don't want to have to cross any more names off that wall.
You really think banishing us is going to solve anything?
No. This isn't a banishing. It's an offering.
So at number 5, a blockbuster. Now, Will Poulter has actually been in quite a lot of blockbusters. He was in the Narnia Chronicles Voyage of the Dawn Treader. He was in We're the Millers, which was a huge international hit, made like $170 million. But at number 5 for me, The Maze Runner. Now, The Maze Runner is not a perfect movie, but it's quite an interesting young adult movie. And Will Poulter is the standout in it, playing a character who is the closest thing the film has to a villain. He's spiky, edgy. The film kind of draws on the fact that his face can look quite bullying, quite malicious, and yet there's a lot of complexity underneath it. I wish he was in the film more. I wish he was a more important part of that series. But at number 5 for me, The Maze Runner, largely because of Will Poulter.
What do you know about it, eh? What do you know about anything?
I'm just saying.
Yeah, well, don't. Because we're not interested in what you have to say. We're not interested in what you think. You are nothing to us. Get what you need and go.
At number 4, something completely different, a low-budget British independent movie, Wild Bill, which was actually the directorial feature debut for Dexter Fletcher, of whom I'm a huge fan. The story is about 2 kids whose father, Charlie Creed Miles, comes out of prison. They're estranged, they have a very sort of hostile relationship, and during the course of the movie, they discover some kind of bond. And right at the heart of it is Will Poulter, who is the child who is attempting to wrestle with all their problems with their father and with their brother and the responsibilities of, again, being a young adult. And I think Poulter is brilliant in the film. Dexter Fletcher has worked with directors such as Derek Jarman and David Lynch, and he obviously understands how to get the very best out of actors. It was a brilliant bit of casting to get in Will Poulter for Wild Bill.
This'll help. Keep you warm. It's all right. Where's Hawk?
He ain't with you?
Nope.
Nope.
On to number 3 in my Will Poulter top 5. And at number 3, an Oscar winner, The Revenant. Now, I know what everybody thinks. The Revenant is the film in which Leonardo DiCaprio finally won his Oscar for Best Actor. He really had to suffer for it. He had to crawl through all manner of bad, difficult, cold things. He had to really sort of suffer physical hardships. And yet, the supporting performances in that film are every bit as important as Leonardo DiCaprio's performance. There's a brilliant turn, for example, by Domhnall Gleeson. But again, the standout for me is Will Poulter. So much so that when I was first watching the film, when Will Poulter came on, I actually didn't recognize him as being Will Poulter. And perhaps one of the best things about Will Poulter as an actor is that you can see him in 5 different films with 5 different performances, and he looks 5 different ways. It's a real testament to him and a demonstration of the fact that he is genuinely an actor who inhabits roles, that you can see Will Poulter on screen and not immediately think, I'm all right, Lee Carter.
Still, you probably don't mind getting a letter sent home and being tortured. Oh, didn't you know about the torture? Oh, yeah. Last time she tortured me, I could barely stand up for a week. Pain like you'd never believe. Doctor said they might have to amputate it off.
Which brings me to number 2, and I'm all right, Lee Carter. Now, I know you'll all know that Son of Rambo is one of my favourite films, directed by Garth Jennings, about 2 kids in the 1980s attempting to make a feature film, an action feature on VHS, which is something that Garth Jennings himself pretty much set out to do. One of the kids is sort of shy and retiring from a very reclusive background. One of them is a bully, played by Will Poulter, and during the course of the movie, his character changes. I remember seeing Son of Rambo when it first came out, firstly being knocked out by how charming it was, how inventive it was, how much it loved the medium of film and VHS, but also being astonished by Will Poulter. He just leapt off the screen. I mean, genuine star talent, a brilliant performance from somebody who was so young and yet absolutely understood the movie. Son of Rambo is a work of genius. Will Poulter is brilliant in it, but it's only my second favourite Will Poulter movie.
Now let's not be stupid in this situation. You need to tell me where the gun is. I got all night, people. Tell me exactly what is going on here.
Which brings me to number one, and my favourite Will Poulter role as Krause in Katherine Bigelow's Detroit. And there's a very simple reason why this film has the edge for me. In the character of Krause, the racist cop who is sort of at the centre of the drama, Will Poulter does something very complicated. He plays a character who is malicious, who is racist, who is malevolent. Katherine Bigelow's film could very easily have tripped over into caricature. It could very easily have been something that simply simplified the events of 1967, but it doesn't, and a large part of that is down to Will Poulter. For me, Will Poulter's performance is extraordinary because he embodies the dark heart of that film, but he does it in a way that is behind a facade of innocence, behind a face that is still childish, and it takes you a while to understand just how mean that character really is.
You think we're bluffing? We don't bluff.
So there we go, my Will Poulter top five. What about you? Are you a Will Poulter fan? I hope you are. If so, what's your favourite Will Poulter film? Did you see Detroit? As I said, I know it's divided critics. I know not everybody is as crazy about it as I am. In fact, some people have real problems with it. I'm a big fan of it. But what about you? Did you love Will Poulter in it? And what's your favourite Will Poulter performance? I mean, there are just so many to choose from.